Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini episode, I have a couple of great stories to tell you all about the day, folks. One, another weird encounter on a farm this boy had with an alien being, and yet another story involving a possible Mothman account in Illinois. Let's get into the first article today. Farm boy's alien encounter near Tacoma, Washington terrorized experiencer. Let's hear this terrifying boy's account, folks. In 1999 or 2000, a young child living on a dairy farm near Tacoma, Washington experienced a moment that would remain buried for decades, occurring near a military installation and involving terrified livestock. This late-night encounter suggests a pattern that echoes other high-strangeness reports tied to rural properties and sensitive locations. Hello. I've lived on a dairy farm in Tacoma, Washington, near a military base. I was around 8 or 9 years old. Sometime in 1999 or 2000, growing up around cows and calves, I developed a big heart for them. One night, I heard some of the calves crying. I quietly got out of bed, not wanting to get in trouble with my parents. The dairy farm was about 500 feet from my house, and everyone was asleep. When I arrived at the calves, I fed them some grains. After that, I checked on the cows. At first glance, everything seemed normal, but some of the cows appeared restless, pacing back and forth in a small space. Almost all the cows recognized me, so getting close to them wasn't an issue. I started to feed them grains as well, but they weren't interested in the food. Their eyes were wide open, as if they were terrified. The more I noticed them pacing and cramming to one side of the barn, the more scared I felt. It seemed like they were avoiding the other side. I took a few steps forward, thinking there might be a dead cow in that area, but there wasn't. Suddenly, a strange feeling of being watched came over me. I stopped looking at the cows and glanced down the hall. At first, I thought I was seeing a tree in the distance, but then I remembered there were no trees there. So he was looking at something, folks. Something that was at least dark enough and basically maybe thin enough to be mistaken for basically a tree, folks. Now, people could be mistaken for a tree, but, well, I kind of have my doubts that that could happen all the time, folks. Usually when you see something thin and basically brownish, you think of a tree, right? But this thing, well, it wasn't a tree, and this boy was looking at it, and he realized it was something else entirely, and that it was mobile and upright on 2 legs. So let's read onward. What I actually saw was only of a 4-foot tall alien with green, grayish, black skin. Its head was definitely larger than its body and had almond-shaped slanted eyes. It was looking at me, analyzing me. I felt an instinct to run, but my body wouldn't respond. It felt like I was moving in slow motion. I couldn't yell or speak. Slowly, the creature began to hide behind the wall. That's interesting, folks. That's something we've seen with both Bigfoot accounts and with alien accounts where they hide behind something after they've been seen. But why did this alien feel the need to do so? Clearly, it was the one in control. So why would it feel the need to hide? We don't know. But let's read on and we can discuss this thought a little more later. Finally, I ran home, terrified. As soon as I opened the door, I knew I had to be quiet to avoid getting in trouble with my strict parents. I tiptoed back into my room, where my siblings were. I never told anyone about that night until now. I'm 32 years old now, and I find myself thinking about that experience more and more. There's also some commentary notes. Let's read on. This report contains several recurring patterns and close encounter cases involving children. These include extreme animal agitation, perceived paralysis or slowed movement, and a profound sense of being observed or evaluated. The proximity to a military installation is notable, as similar gray-type entity encounters have been reported near Joint Base Lewis McChord and other defense-related facilities in Washington state dating back to the 1960s. The entity description aligns with classic gray or hybrid classifications, though the partial concealment in barn settings suggests purposeful avoidance rather than overt contact. The emotional tone reflects fear mixed with confusion, followed by a long-term suppression of the memory. A typical pattern in childhood encounters. Possible origins include extraterrestrial biological entities, interdimensional observers, or an ultra-terrestrial presence utilized liminal rural environments and livestock as cover for observation. Indeed, folks, maybe that's what it was there for, to observe this boy and maybe his livestock, perhaps. Maybe observing how basically humans live their lives on farms. We just don't know. Either way, let's move on to the next article. Giant owl, like humanoid, confronts trucking couple near railroad crossing in Alsip, Illinois. Let's read this article now as well. In the early morning hours of October 26, 2018, a seasoned over-the-road trucking team encountered something wholly unexpected while returning to their yard in Alsip, Illinois. What began as a routine drive ended with a close-range confrontation and unexplained screams that still trouble the witnesses years later. Let's get into the actual story now, folks. We were on our way to park our truck at the yard after being on the road for 2 weeks. As we approached the railroad track crossing, we noticed something standing in the middle of the road and initially thought it was a homeless person walking along the tracks. We turned on the high-intensity lights, and to our surprise, it was not a homeless person. This figure looked like a large owl with what appeared to be feathers, a flat, rounded face, and large eyes that reflected the LED lights from our truck. The creature seemed to lunge at us while trying to cover its eyes with its left arm. I honked the air horn, and the beast turned its back on us, took a couple of steps, and then flew off into the night. Wow, that's quite the experience. Let's read on. We were left in complete shock as we watched it disappear. After a minute or two of waiting for it to return, we continued into the yard. We parked our truck and were walking toward our car when we suddenly heard what sounded like a scream followed by another, and then silence. We hurried to our car and left for home. It sounded like maybe these entities, or maybe, not just one folks, entities returned and perhaps were there to frighten the couple for basically, disturbing this entity earlier. Let's read on with the notes and commentary now. This report displays several recurring patterns seen in winged humanoid encounters throughout northeastern Illinois. The entity was first misidentified as a human figure, exhibited intelligent, reactive behavior to bright light and sound, and demonstrated powerful flight from a grounded position. The emotional tone conveyed by both witnesses was shock followed by fear, particularly after the unexplained screams, which suggests a lingering psychological impact. The location is noteworthy. The Aslip Industrial Corridor sits within a broader cluster of winged humanoid sightings extending through Chicago, Cicero, Melrose Park, and areas near rail lines and waterways. Railroad crossings and industrial zones appear repeatedly in these cases. The owl-like morphology aligns with other reports of large feathered beings with a humanoid posture and facial structure rather than conventional avian anatomy. Possible interpretations include an unknown cryptid species, an ultra-terrestrial intelligence utilizing biological or perceptual camouflage, or an interdimensional entity manifesting temporarily within liminal environments such as rail corridors and industrial boundaries. Indeed, folks, maybe this was some sort of entity manifesting in this industrial boundary, because we've talked about other encounters with, Mothman, basically near industrial areas before, folks. In fact, like another encounter basically taking place where these two couples were going to basically go to, folks, maybe even to make out. But I and others have also noted that Mothman has appeared in industrial areas, like basically the original sightings of Mothman in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, folks, where he was sighted in this former TNT, manufacturing plant area, folks. So, indeed, there's something to be said about that. So, why is Mothman, or this, even these weird entities, like basically these giant bats, as well as these owl-like entities being seen in these industrial areas, folks? What's drawing them, and why are they there? What is with all these encounters in Chicago, as well in the surrounding, area, folks? We just don't know. Like with the first account with these alien beings, folks, basically being seen near various military bases, why are people seeing these gray aliens, Mothman, giant bats, and these other creatures near these locations over and over again? As I said, folks, we just don't know, but maybe there is a reason behind it. Maybe it's some sort of camouflage, perhaps, or maybe there's some other reason that allows them to manifest there. We don't know, but maybe one day we will. Either way, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure at the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.